Tell me the difference in rap and hip hop.
Rap is something that you do. It's an element of the culture. And hip hop, it's like under the umbrella. Rap is an element. It's one of the elements that comprise hip hop. Yeah, comprises of hip hop.
So you are a rap artist or a hip hop artist or both?
Both.
Yeah.
I rap and I'm a hip hop artist.
Yeah. Tell me how you developed. Just doing it?
Just doing it, yeah. You know, I didn't start out with some crazy talent. I just had a work ethic. You know, I had a high school group that was about 5 of us, and I was definitely the worst in the group at the beginning. The worst.
See, I love this story.
Yeah.
I just love it.
I was by far and away. I used to get on stage, I would scream, lose my voice after a song, had no breath control, didn't know how to do it. And I figured out that I wasn't great because I was listening to these tapes back that we would make, and I would realize, okay, these guys, their verses are better than mine. So I bought a karaoke tape deck from a thrift shop and practiced and stayed in my room for years practicing.
And when did you know, or did somebody finally tell you, hey, you're good?
I knew that I was getting good when
you could feel it.
I wanted to listen to myself. I wanted to listen to my songs. Yeah. You know, it was one thing to do it, it's another thing to be like, I want to hear that song that I made. And you can also feel it. Yeah, when you start to find that pocket, when you find your voice, when you find out who you are as a person, and that's translating to a record, that's when you realize, okay, I have something here.
Tell me about White Privilege 2.
The most challenging song I've ever written. It is I believe it's 9 minutes, around that time.
Yeah.
And we wanted to take the listener on a visual journey, starting at a Black Lives Matter protest rally, and go through different vantage points and perspectives. And it's also got my friend Jamila on it. And yeah, it was an undertaking to try to break down race in general, try to talk about race and systematic oppression and white supremacy in 9 minutes. It's impossible. So we wanted to start from that place of the rally and come from kind of my perspective of showing up to that, not knowing if I could say at the time, Black Lives Matter. This is when it first, the term first really got introduced to the public, and I heard it coming after the non-indictment of Michael Brown. And so I start there, and I'm in my own head, and it kind of takes the listener through this journey of a protest and different perspectives.
Is there a sense of your music being socially conscious?
I think there's an element to it, absolutely. You know, if something's on my heart, resonates with me on a personal level, I'm going to attempt to put that into a song. And with Same Love, you know, I had read an article that my mom had sent me about a kid getting bullied in school and who committed suicide. And I wanted to touch on that, and I tried to write from the perspective of that kid, and Ryan Lewis, my producer, was like, no, that's not your story to tell, but you do have a story to tell in this.
And your story was?
My story was growing up in a gay area of Seattle, Washington, Capitol Hill, having 2 gay uncles, questioning my own sexuality at an early age because I didn't understand it. I thought that because my uncles were gay and I was good at art, that made me gay. You know, just being a kid. And you know, and then talking about popular culture and how we use terminology, degrading terminology, and just in general speaking on the subject of marriage equality. Like, that's something that was heavy on my heart after reading that article. And around that time, that's when you had President Obama come out for the first time in support of same-sex marriages. And you're watching society evolve and the conversation evolve, and some of these negative terms that are being thrown around start to not become the norm and, you know, get called out. So, yeah, I think that if it's on my heart, I'm gonna wanna put it into a record. I don't just make that type of music. I don't just make socially conscious music, but it is a part of who I am, and it's gonna translate to the songs.
Thrift Shop came along when, 2008?
No, 2012.
12?
Yeah.
What was that about?
Thrift Shop was about shopping at secondhand clothing stores. And, you know, something I've done forever, getting back to that original karaoke tape deck.
Yeah.
But clothing-wise and just personality, I just always resonated with, you know, shopping at secondhand stores and buying artwork and records and women's fur jackets and everything in between.
2 Grammys?
4.
4 Grammys.
4.
10 million copies. Been viewed on YouTube over 1.1 billion times.
Oh yeah, Thrift Shop has 2 Grammys, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Thrift Shop has 2 Grammys. Yeah.
I don't even know.
No, it does. I think.
Something like that.
Anyway, 10 million copies sounds about right, doesn't it?
It does.
YouTube, 1.1 billion times. What is it, do you think, about Thrift Shop, that song?
It's a weird one.
Yeah.
It's an anomaly. It's an outlier. It's one of those records that for some reason the saxophone riff, what I'm rapping about, the timing, the hook, Juan's voice, it just kind of added up to the music video. It all added up to this cultural moment, and I don't think anyone had heard anything like it. You know, I was brand new to people. Here comes this guy in a used cheetah coat with, you know, on a scooter and some Slurpees and going around thrift shops. It was just something new, and it spoke to people.
What's in this one? Gemini.
Gemini is...
Gemini, I mean.
Yeah, Gemini is... it's all over the place.
Yeah.
It's multiple things, and I think that's something that I've always embraced about my personality is I might have, you know, a socially conscious record here, or a record where, you know, I'm battling addiction here, or, you know, I'm a little bit flashy on this side. So that's what Gemini is embracing my multiple sides. It's my astrology sign, and it's, you know, this dual personality.
First solo album in how many years?
12.
12 years.
Yeah.
Why 12 years?
There is some drug use in there.
Right.
Slow me down for sure.
Yeah. You went into your own rehab.
Yeah, I went to rehab.
Rehab on your own though. I mean, you.
Yeah, my dad approached me and asked me.
You?
Yeah, he asked me if I was happy,
Yeah.
and I said no. You know, I had to
Why weren't you
answer
happy?
it. That's where drugs and alcohol lead me. They lead me to isolation, depression, stagnation, lack of creativity. And that's where I was at that moment. And when he asked me that question, I reflected and answered no, and checked in about a week later.
This was when?
2008.
So that's 9 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doing okay?
Doing okay.
Yeah.
Doing okay. Yeah. You know, it hasn't been a perfect journey in terms of me getting out of rehab to today. But, you know, it's one day at a time, and I got some time under my belt, and, you know, I have a program of recovery now that I didn't have before. I always thought that I could do it on my own. You know, I could white knuckle it. I could stop
People
if I
always
wanted
say
to.
that, don't they? They think they
Yeah,
can.
I mean, it's part of the addict, you know, and if you don't know what a support group, if you don't know what a recovery community looks like, if you've never experienced that, there's no way to know, and you think that you can do it by self-will, and from my experience and millions of others is self-will doesn't work. It's more than that. This is a disease that should be treated as such.
And characterize where you are today, not just in terms of that, which you've obviously, you know, articulated well, but where you are in terms of musically, where you want to go. This is a solo album, the first one in 12 years.
Yeah.
More solo stuff.
Yeah,
more experimentation. More.
Yeah, I think life is an experiment. I want to keep experimenting. Absolutely. You know, I have a 2.5-year-old daughter, and a beautiful wife, and another baby on the way in March.
Life is good.
Life is amazing. I mean, that's such a huge part of my foundation now is my family, and then you have the musical side. So it's a balance. It's a balance right now of being out on the road, promoting this album, sharing it with fans, traveling around the world, and exposing this music to as many people as possible, while also being a father. And I'm loving both of those.